Welcome all those participants. Good afternoon. Hope you are enjoying the sessions. And I see that most of you are from the pharma background. So I'm sure that you must be taking definitely necessary precautions in this COVID situation. Let's start with some more introduction. What I want to add it up over here. Uh, I'm basically started with the founder managing director of my company called Ajay Techma Systems Private Limited. And as I mentioned over there, my passion is how we can use technology to improve the performance, productivity, profitability. And since pharma industry has got many challenges, mainly two things. One is a regulatory requirement, documentation, validations, quality and all. And second is the supply chain management, which is very complex. So these are the two things which I am focusing. So since I see that most of you are from the pharma, I want to start with a note. You must be knowing Dr. Narsihan, who is the CEO of Novartis Global. And in December 2020, in an interview with Rakesh Rathi, he mentioned that now in future every company is going to be a new technology company, and that applicable to even pharma also. So my focus will be actually how this technology can really help you in improving the operation. We have done work, as I mentioned over there, to 30, 40 companies. And since most of you are from the pharma, I want to share an example. Wherever we have implemented a quality management system, my experience is at least 25%, you can say productivity has gone up or time saving is there. And this data has been used to take many more decisions quickly, and that is how it expedites the process of implementation and productivity and performance. Actually, let me start with my next slide. Is agenda what really I'm going to discuss today. It's pharma industry challenges and adoption of emerging technologies, blockchain technology. As I was saying that today technology is driving everything. So where blockchain can have uses and integrations and all. And challenges in implementing blockchain, data integration, data collection, data authority, data synchronization, data validation, data integration. These are the challenges are there today. And finally, the digital system validation. Everybody is now talking about the digitization. Let me start with another small, simple example of our regular use. I'm sure everyone is having a smartphone, and every one of us has used Uber sometime or other, actually. How Uber has really used this technology in its digitization, and how we all of us have been benefited by building up the data and then transparency and seamless integrations and all. So as you see that workflow, that is Uber is offering taxi services, and then you book a vehicle, and then the driver will come, he will pick you, you will have a ride, and the vehicle will drop you at your desired location, and then that history is maintained and all. So I have again tried to correlate our validation concept with Uber, how Uber has done it actually. As you know, you go to Google Play and then you download the application, and this application will ask you an OTP. When you give an OTP, then your phone gets registered, your name gets registered. So that's again a validation. the way we do it in our computer systems validation. And then you select a location. Uber, from its application, will select the location where you are there, and then you enter a location where you want to reach. Now, these two data is going to get it picked up and will take it to a GPS. Now, GPS is again a emerging technology. Now, this data is transferred using cloud. That's again a new technology. System will work out what is the distance and then apply the rate and calculate the charges and will communicate to you. This is again coming through the cloud. Now the pricing also, there could be a variation, deviation depending upon the time, morning, afternoon, and this is again getting applied by using the technology. Then you board the vehicle will drive you to your destination. While moving, a system will go on telling it to you, again checking up from the GPS where you have reached, how much time you have spent, how much time is remaining. These are the things again are becoming applicable by using the technology. When you complete the journey, the system will tell you about the payment. Again, there comes the transparency, and then it will maintain the history and all. So these are exactly the things which we are really looking when we talk about the pharma validation. I'm trying to give you a very simple example. I don't want to use the big technology jargon. I'm trying to simplify as much as possible. So these are the concepts how the technology can really build the data security, data integration, your validation, and will have all the data available into a database at any moment of time. So let's see how this validation is getting applied to our pharma industry. Pharma industry, again, we look at it, operator or who is the user going to be using that system. We have a material system, again, procurement, storing, then comes the quality with specification, your testing, and then certificates of analysis. And then you issue to manufacturing process, either it could be a production planning, production accounting. Then you use the machines, you have to validate those machines, their process parameters. Then comes the analytical process. And finally, the instruments which you use it are also going. Slowly, as I was mentioning to you, the way Uber is moving, we are all moving with the digitization, with these emerging technologies. Now let's look at the present challenges. The present challenges are that global supply chains are becoming more complex because it is going from customer and then supplier. You are covering many more geographies, not only just the countries, but getting extended to more countries also. Regulatory requirements are increasing day by day, and that's a more challenge because you're supposed to maintain documentation. And I know we started about 30 years back when everything was manual. Then slowly we moved to computer systems. Now computer systems are also in a use, and now we are moving to the next phase. It's the digitization. We are using connecting with the instruments, like in the limbs, but it can be also there into production. It can be there into distribution, and then that whole documentation is really required. Then competition is increasing, and then because of that, there is a lot of companies are trying to push their fake or counterfeit product, and monitoring that into the movement is a challenge. Emerging technologies are there. Technology has got a lot of capabilities, but those needs to be applied. Last 30 years, we are focusing mainly on to IT and OT. IT is information technology, and OT is operation technology. And today we have to merge IT and OT together to get a best results. So this is where that adoption of emerging technology is coming up. And we also have a holistic approach of people, processes, and technology. I'm going to discuss something more on to that. And finally, as we discuss more regulatory requirements, the traceability and timeliness over the delivery of the customer satisfaction. How these emerging technologies are going to bring the benefits actually. Adoption of this technology has to match with your processes, data capture, network, your products, quality specifications and all that data has to get it into the system. And as LIMS is doing to some extent, it can get further extended by using more technologies of artificial intelligence. Robust manufacturing processes are there with IoT information, Internet of Things. We can capture the data using sensors and devices directly, like your SCADA system, and then that can integrate to the back with the stores, and the next is distribution also. This will minimize product failures because alarm messages and all can come. And finally, this assure the good quality product getting delivered to the patient, because patient is safety is the most important. Now, how is the global blockchain market? Blockchain is a very recent concept, and still not much of a work has been done, and is expected to get mature by 2025. But during this 5 years, it will have a growth rate of 81.7%. It's a cumulative annual growth rate which is expected, which is projected by many international consultancies, and research papers are there. The key requirements where blockchain is bringing the benefits, why people are looking and adopting it: security, automation, and transparency. Blockchain will streamline the supply chain, and this is where the benefits are going to come. And this is where pharma companies are planning to invest into blockchain because they look at it a lot of benefits. I'm going slightly more details actually. Blockchain can assure the quality, product safety, reliability, authenticity. Supply chain partners get integrated from the different location, because as we know, in the distribution, your products are moving from manufacturing location to depots, stockists, retailers, chemists, and all that. Blockchain will control that tracing of the product or a batch where it is there. So complete end-to-end visibility will be there, and with a blockchain, there is absolutely no possibility that counterfeit product can get it into the system. Smart contracts also plays an important role because as there are n number of transactions are getting created, and each transaction has got a contract. There is a buyer, there is a seller, and it requires some documentation to be developed. And smart contracts play an important role. You must be also aware that Amazon has got a excellent technology platform, Amazon Web Services, which has developed a platform which can really create and manage this scalability of blockchain. And we are using Amazon Web Services cloud native platform to build a platform and offer a mid-sized service company blockchain as a service, so that we, since we have a more than 30 years of pharma knowledge base, we want to merge that domain and technology work together to benefit. As we have seen, the Uber has developed a technology and customers' requirement. We also want to do the same thing. There is some still discussions are going on whether the blockchain is hype or a reality. Blockchain is definitely not a hype, it's a reality. This survey from markets and research also show that CAGR will be around 90%. The issue or the decision making is slow because today not many people are aware about this particular technology or benefits of that. As I mentioned in during the starting, our focus is to educate the people, to make them aware the benefits of this technology, help them in migration from the legacy systems to the new systems, like from computer system to digital system, and that digital transformation can generate good benefits. Blockchain is a key technology in digital supply chain. I was mentioning about the supply chain, but when we use these emerging technologies, starting from a smartphone and Internet of Things and artificial intelligence, it's moving to digital supply chain. And unfortunately, till today, nowhere in the world, any single company has built up a complete end-to-end supply chain. I know I mentioned it in the beginning that pharma supply chains are very complex and to connect end to end is a big challenge. But you must have seen the way Uber has developed it. It's again a supply chain. It basically from placing an order for a vehicle to reaching to the destination. That's the same way customer is placing an order for a pharma product and then you deliver the product. So then from order to delivery is again a cycle, which is what really going to come. Jack Ma, you must be knowing about him, is the co-founder of Alibaba. He has also mentioned that blockchain technology could change our world more than the people are imagining. Now, we are also thinking that yes, things are moving, things are changing, but technology is changing much faster, both ways, on the hardware side also as well as software side also. Let me brief you about how this blockchain process works. I have shown you in a circle that there are 6 diagrams are there. The first one is somebody wants to have a transaction. Like you want to make a payment to your friend or you want to make a payment to Amazon or something. So that's a transaction which you want to generate it. Now what happens in the blockchain? Blockchain is depending upon they shown it over there is a P2P network, peer to peer. Like you want to give to friend and you wanted to earlier was doing maybe Google Pay or you want to give him a check and then he will deposit it to bank and then bank will transfer that money to the account or something. What really happens? It was taking long time in blockchain. This is very fast actually. So whosoever are there in the nodes will validate that yes, this whether this transaction is to be approved or not and they use cryptography. Cryptography is a secure system where you don't see what is really happening it, and only the node person or will get that correct information. So in a secure way, the data is transmitted, and once it has been approved, that transaction, a new block will be created. What is that new block? New block is a code which generates it. It is alphanumeric. You won't know what is that code, but the system will know it. And then once that code is generated, a new block is created. And then that new blocks goes on moving up to the next transactions and all that will happen. And then that complete the transaction. So it's a very simple process. You don't have to really worry about it. A lot of blockchain platforms are already available and you can select it, pick and choose, and then your technology team can really build up based on to your algorithm requirements and all that. I'm moving one more step further to show you a small blockchain example. You may see that there are new blue blocks are there and there is some code number. You know, normally the technology uses 0101, so those numbers are there. So when you create some transaction, it will create a new block, and then that block gets transferred to the next action, and then it goes on moving on. That how it's being applied is shown in the bottom actually. Now it's a distribution network where you have a supplier, a manufacturer, distributor, and then it goes on moving till the reaches to the patient. So this is how that blockchain and all will get merged together and develop. Now, as I mentioned, to blockchain is a concept, and when we want to apply it to the pharma, it's a complete value chain. It starts from drug discovery, drug development, drug manufacturing, and then distribution. At present, my focus or where we are focusing is mainly into manufacturing and distribution because that's more challenges are there. And this is where if you will see the serialization and traceability and smart contracts and data security are important areas. Now we have got an idea about blockchain and now, since you are more from the pharma and the quality, I thought maybe I will just discuss some few points about the cost of quality also. It's a prevention, appraisal, and then internal, external failures. They contribute the cost of quality. Quality costs can be monitored by effectively quality planning, better process and manufacturing control, and using a good information technology. Validation process will support to monitor the cost because as you know, because of competition and we want to really monitor all those expenses and reduce the time, expedite the processes and offer a right quality, right product at the right time to the customers. Now, how this cost of quality can be connected to the cost of validation? Validation is you require the time to compile this data, and then you require the resources. Resources can be skills or can be hardware, software, solution. Then in between, if you have to do revalidation also, then if there are changes into the process, you have to monitor them. The changes are also to be documented and also to be certified. A good logical approach of using this technology can bring a lot of tangible, intangible benefits, and this can lead to Pharma 4, where all pharma companies are really looking for it. Now, I am focusing three main technologies. One is Internet of Things. As I mentioned it to you, in the LIMS, you are connecting your laboratory instrument, but you can extend that to manufacturing to connect the data with the sensors devices. Can use artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence can come in procurement, can quality in manufacturing, in logistics, distribution, and all that. That can prompt you based on to your real-time data compilation. And this gets connected into a blockchain. Blockchain as an independent thing will not contribute it, but when you use connection from the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence, there are a lot of benefits are there. Traceability, I just wanted to show you something more into the details. So where the normal process is receiving the material or a product. When I say receiving the material from the material, we also want to trace the raw material used into your manufacturing product. From which supplier, what batch number, what are the analytical report numbers and all. I just want to give you a small thing. You must be gone to a Starbucks also. Starbucks has got a complete traceability of the coffee beans from where, which country, which location, which geography, from which field, when it has been sown, and how that processing has been done. So the complete traceability is available. You also wanted to see your Amazon order, how it is getting traced out. So all that. This requires data compilation, storage, security, integration. So this is where that blockchain and your supply chain can really come into the picture. Smart contracts, of course, I mentioned it to you earlier also. I'm just showing you more into a graphical form so that you will have a clarity. Uh, we have a insurance, we have a transporter, we have a inspector who is going to check, validate it, and we have carriers. So the product either into inward size or outward size, it goes on moving, and then there are these transactions are getting created. We are discussing with many more authorities and creating those transactions, and then that data needs to be stored up till the time the product reaches to right destination. So smart contracts in the distribution is important. If I go more into the details about the blockchain in distribution, you can probably see and read it onto your screen. There are a number of transactions or the data is getting captured. And if you see in the bottom, the blockchain records are getting generated. In your pharma distribution, when we talk about the cold chain and then the products like in today's scenario, COVID vaccines is a more important thing, and those have been moved into a cold chain, and you want to monitor the temperature, and if the temperature is not maintained, you want to have an alarm. So the system can really catch up all that with the temperature sensors and with a GPS, or maybe you use a RFID or a barcode and all, and that data goes on getting updated. And this is how that integration of the distribution transactions and the blockchain records and the smart contracts can really create and all. This, again, I'm trying to move more into the details about the logistic. I've already mentioned when a carrier or a cold chain is moving up, you may have sort of additional data needs to be captured, and this goes on moving and gets updated onto the logistic system. I also mentioned about how IoT can come into the picture. IoT can be either a 2D barcode, can be RFID, can be GPS, can be temperature sensor. So these are the things which can capture the real-time data, upload into the cloud, and that can you as a user can set the parameters of the alarm levels, and then that indication can come to you onto your mobile, or maybe can be shared, and you can take a corrective action. So this is how the system can improve the performance, system can bring the security of the data, can expedite the real-time processing. The next is self-validation. Actually, as the course is for the validation, and we have already seen computer system validation. Over here, once you define a blockchain, blockchain itself has got a validation process. So you need not have to really worry once you build up an algorithm, and whosoever are stakeholders in that whole process. As I mentioned it to you, it's moving from either into manufacturing or into the distribution, into a supply chain. There are managers, there are customers, there are staff people, the regulators are there, you need a documentation. And then you may have a strategic partners from the warehouse, or maybe if you are sending it to hospitals or any other kind. This data gets shared up, as I mentioned it to you, and shown how this information will go to the nodes, and then the peers can approve it, and then the new block will be created. So automatically this validation is done, and unless everybody accepts that transaction, the transaction will not move, and then the next transaction will take place from there further. The smart contracts also I mentioned, But again, to give you a very small, simple example, like somebody wants to buy a house, somebody wants to sell a house, and they may be at a different geographic location, but they can connect it, and finally there is a government authority which keeps track about all these transactions, then that ensure that the right plot or right documentation is basically getting generated. So this is how it happens in a blockchain. The end-to-end integration, like we have seen the material flow, we have seen the information flow, and how that get integrated with the blockchain is an important thing. So I'm trying to show or help you to explain this thing. We have seen the material flow coming from supplier to manufacturer to distributor to the customer or patient. Information flows you are all using the computer system. So this information is basically getting captured. You get the information and you enter that information and then that update the records and then it goes to the next thing. What I'm showing it over here at the bottom is a blockchain, and you might have seen the blockchain into like a barcode, and you see that the blockchain numbers is go on increasing. As I mentioned it to you, that blockchain, when the particular transaction is accepted, it generates a new block, and then that new block goes on moving up into a sequential form, and this is where the blockchain number is goes on increasing. Important thing is whenever it reaches to a customer and the customer uses say the QR code or something, the block number, he can get a full complete traceability of the product, of the batch number, about its manufacturing, of its distribution data. This is what is the main benefit of the blockchain. So we have seen your data security, data integration, everything is taken care of. That moves to Industry 4. So Industry 4, we are, I mentioned it to you, cloud, smartphones, and wireless sensors, we are using it. Uh, Again, that IoT app, robotics can bring the automation, and then those automation benefits are there. It's, there are challenges that you as a user want to have the strategy. You have to really document it, and this is where things can really improve. The Industry 4 is, as I mentioned it to you, these are the various emerging technologies can play, and how does emerging technologies can play a role into pharma for? This is how it is there. The robotic, the cloud, big data for analytics, computer security, cyber security, Internet of Things. All of this play an important role, and blockchain is a part of that, and blockchain plays a part. This is where again I'm trying to show you how the data is generated at a different transaction levels and how those are getting complied. And when I show a control tower is a place or a location where all this data, the entire supply chain compiles and give you a complete visibility, traceability, security, integration part of it. So everything gets end to end. Now, how we will move to this digital systems? So we have at a current level what I've shown it over here, and we are there for a future level where we want to move to digital. So we have to have four levels. Like one is strategy, then people, processes, and technology are there, and then that can help us with using innovation, agility, and all to move to the next level. Again, I'm trying to show you separately the traditional information systems are presently all of us are using that is the ERP, supply chain, and CRM and PLM and all that. And the new cloud native integrated technologies which are coming up are having that additions of IoT, big data, analytics, and mobility. And this is where we are moving to the digital system. We are already now familiar with software and software validation. What we have to think about it is a new concept or a new idea, how the digitization also will require a validation. Digital also will require that what are the digital interfaces, how the data is getting captured, how it is going to get converted, how it is going to get communicated, how the analysis will be done, how you will be able to define those alarms and controls, how what type of algorithms are required. So these are the things which digital system validation is going to bring an important thing. And as I mentioned, digitization is going to be a big global market of more than $1 trillion, and that requires a digital system validation. Again, I'm showing this in a graphical form also that manual, computer, and digital system. Manual is basically a user-based. Computer system is a company at a different silos, either it's a materials, quality, production, distributions, and all that. But digital is a complete end-to-end, and which takes you to the industry for. To make it a more simple, I have prepared this diagram actually. Digital supply chain integrates what we call it is a SMAC. It's a social mobile analytics and cloud, IoT, robotics, and blockchain interfaces. And that is basically getting implemented effectively by using drawing the strategy, working out the policies, procedures, and all. And when all these three circles are merging or catching up or having a common area, is basically a digital system validation. So you need to have all those three together to have a effective system validation. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I think I tried to give you a brief overview how the blockchain technologies can help you, how the digital system validation can help you. These are my contact details are there. You can feel free to send me all those details, and if you need any help, if you have any questions, if there is some time, I would like to answer. But if you can share those, I can definitely answer them also from the chat box.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Joshi,
Thank you.
so
Bye.
much for the wonderful presentation. I'm